This company is connected to a very powerful theme. First off, read this disclaimer carefully. We will look at a company in the theme called interactive entertainment. There is a good reason why I call it interactive entertainment instead of video games, and I will get into that pretty soon. Here is the distance from the 52-week low and high. You can see that it is massively outperforming the S&P 500. The company we will look at specifically is called Activision Blizzard. There is actually an ETF if you want exposure to this space, ESPO, Vanek Vectors Video Gaming and Esports ETF. Here is the company's website. Call of Duty is one of their IPs. You got Crash Bandicoot, you got Overwatch, Diablo, World of Warcraft, Starcraft. If you look at here, you also got Skylanders, Candy Crush games, Farm Heroes. Basically a rather diversified company in this space. You also have Major League Gaming, which is, in the whole esports theme. Okay, let's look at the seasonality. If you look at the most distant past, between 1993 to 2012, this shows the months in which the stock closed higher than it opened for the month. You can see that July, which is the coming month, is the weakest of them all. That's a bit of an issue from a bullish perspective. If you look at the most recent development, you can see that there is some seasonality. From March heading towards September, you can see that it gets weaker. So there's some clear seasonality. We are currently in June, which is more 60% is not bad, but compared to 80%, it is mediocre. However, looking at this stock long term, it's pretty clear that the bulls are in control. Since inception, the return has been 9,126%. That is rather big. Here you have the dot-com bubble and the financial crisis. You can see that it does clearly go down during a bear market. Here you can see that it had a very strong rally heading into September 2018 before it had a major crash. Then it formed a rounding bottom with a double bottom as well, and then it rallied quite significantly. And we are heading towards, the previous highs. This is one of those stocks that performed really well during this pandemic because you can entertain yourself with video games at home. And we are seeing a trend in which, physical, real sports is declining. However, the interest in esports is rising. So there's basically many different trends that is beneficial to this industry. You can see that the RSI, it is touching the high levels we have seen before. The trend has been that RSI has pulled back and not wanting to become overbought, at least on the weeklies here. The accumulation distribution line is showing us that there are certainly buyers. The correlation with the S&P 500 is basically not there, around minus 4-ish% negative correlation. That's great, very great to not be correlated. If you look at the daily data points, you have this rounding bottom. Yes, the stocks pays a relatively regular dividend, so you do have this rounding bottom pattern. There's been a big move, and we are now heading towards this battle zone, where there's good reason to think that there will be some resistance. Looking at the RSI, it is you can see a very clear trend. It stays within the upper part of the band, doesn't want to become overbought. That's interesting. And also on the daily data points here, there is there's virtually no correlation with S&P 500. That is fantastic. Okay, so obviously the bulls are in control. Long term, they have been the ultimate winners. But when there are pullbacks, they are big. I mean, this pullback here, this is, almost 16%. Here you have a major one, all the way down minus 52%. Hence, you can certainly make money short selling Activision Blizzard. That's possible. There's been some sizable pullbacks in the past, but long term it's quite obvious that it is easier to make money being bullish Activision Blizzard. Yeah, but the major caveat is that we have made a lot of gains. We are pushing towards these prior resistance levels. And as we saw in the seasonality, the coming months are okay. But there's obviously some comparative weakness, especially heading towards the later part of the year. That's just something to be aware of. If you look here at some of the fundamentals, you can see here that, especially if let's first look at the dividend. The dividend is 0.54%, so there is a dividend, but not really. You are certainly not buying it for the dividend. It's too small, but it is there. If you look at the analyst price targets, it's currently at $78.73. The stock is currently trading at $76.58, meaning there is only like 3% distance to the analyst price target. And so you could certainly make the case that a lot of the gains have been made. If you look here at Saks.com, they do have a #1 strong buy on Activision Blizzard. That's obviously good. D value score, F growth, and C momentum. Market cap is big, $59 billion US. Looking at the industry rank here, it is in the top 19%. Toys, games, hobbies. Though I would prefer if they had a bit more specific category, like interactive entertainment or video games. Let's actually look at the correlation with the ESPO, the ETF, the gaming ETF. So let's ESPO. Well, maybe we should just look at the ESPO versus the S&P 500. Yeah, okay, we do not have sufficient data to get the correlation. Okay, well, that's just how the cookie crumbles. Okay, so let's talk a bit about interactive entertainment. The thing is that this is a growing universe, and it goes far beyond what you typically think of as video games. So the way I have structured this is that I will list all the aspects of interactive entertainment, and here is one example of a game to the right, okay? So you have video games, that's the classic. Super Mario Odyssey is a great example. Then you have simulations. Microsoft Flight Simulator is coming soon to the consoles and PC, and it looks absolutely amazing. But the simulations are distinctly different from the video games. You also have edutainment, a mixture of educational content and learning. Sid Meier's Civilization 6 is a great example. Creative expression, Minecraft. In Minecraft, you can shape the world with your pickaxe, and there's been all kinds of things recreated in Minecraft, like Hogwarts and Star Wars and you name it. Exercise, Dance Dance Revolution. When you buy the game, you have these mats you put on the floor, and then you are literally like dancing and touching, the buttons with your feet. And that is, it is distinctly different from what you typically think of as a video game. You also have training, Guitar Hero, virtual places like the Guggenheim Museum, which is an app, relaxation and meditation. So there is this thing called Flower, and you are in this, which you can get on PlayStation. You are like a flower petal, and you are like flowing around and making plants and grass come to life, and it isn't really a game. It is something, you know, a bit more, yeah, like meditation, I guess. You then have another, and that is called MMOs, World of Warcraft, which is one of the IPs owned by Activision Blizzard, and that is the biggest massively multiplayer online game on the planet. And in an MMO, you can talk. I mean, many of the people around you are real people. You know, they are game characters controlled by humans, and you can talk with them and stuff like that. When describing these, I am going to I cannot assume that you know like everything about video games, so I just have to explain things as I go along, such that everyone can get, you know, to grips with this very interesting theme. Virtual online world. A Second Life is the biggest, so in Second Life you basically it's like an online world where many of the places in our real world have been recreated, and people have jobs there, and people are basically living this virtual life. You have Esports multiplayer, Madden, NFL, and I have a specific theme here for Esports in the Zeitgeist, and this is something that is going to go very, very far. It's a very interesting theme. Interactive story. There is this app called The Walking Dead. So I'm not talking about the TV series, but on Android and the gaming consoles and Apple, you can find The Walking Dead, and it is the easiest way to explain it is that it is an interactive story. It is not really a video game, it is not a movie, it is somewhere in between. Very recommended. And the barrier of entry is low, hence if you haven't played games before, you will be able to get into The Walking Dead. A very groundbreaking thing happened recently, and that was when Valve released Half-Life Alyx. It is the best virtual reality game to date. It is absolutely amazing and quite groundbreaking. Then you have something that I call community-made levels. So Little Big Planet, it is made by Media Molecule, and it is kind of like a game, but they enable you to make your own levels and share it with other people. Hence, it's very interesting. It's so basically community-made levels. And even on a higher level, you have something that I call Open Sandbox. And it is this, it's called the Dreams, and in the Dreams people can create everything really. We have seen people recreate Super Mario, Fallout, you name it. It is basically just limited by their imagination. You can acquire life skills through apps like Cooking Mama. Brain training, Tetris is an example. And there's a new category that is called survival. There's many games like Stranded Deep, Subnautica, and The Forest. And these are these apps in which you are in some location and you just have to survive, build shelter, find food. It is really interesting, and it is just a completely separate category. And then the final one is what I call augmented reality, and Pokemon Go is a great example of that. And augmented reality is something that's going to become quite significant going forward. In other words, interactive entertainment, it goes far beyond video games, you know, Super Mario and the like. It is a very, very fascinating universe with huge potential going forward. So yes, I am very, very bullish on interactive entertainment and the companies, of course, in that space. If you want an ETF, one of the ETFs is ESPO, and this chart certainly looks rather bullish. Okay, so to sum up my take on Activision Blizzard, obviously, long term, it is extraordinarily bullish. This is so annoying, this dividend thing that's here. There, I removed it. Okay. Yeah, okay, so so to sum up my take on Activision Blizzard, long term I am certainly bullish. The percentage gains, they speak for themselves. We also saw, you know, the fundamentals were, you know, I mean, they were decent. As far as the coming months, we did see that the seasonality was not like super strong. There's been a huge move already, and we are heading towards some key resistance levels. You could make a case that a lot of the gains have been made, and that it could be one of those stocks to rather buy on a pullback, because when there are pullbacks in Activision Blizzard, they can be a bit significant. Of course, you can always scale into a position, especially now with zero commissions. That's also a way to do it. Okay, but yeah, long-term bullish, but yeah, the seasonality and the history of pullbacks, yeah, it's just something to think about. Okay, so this is the S&P 500. There was basically no correlation with between S&P 500 and Activision Blizzard. We can see here. This is the US 500 futures. There is some. I mean, the bulls are basically in control. We haven't seen any severe damage. We have many support levels below us. The only major one was back here, and we are seeing that the bulls are struggling to get above the high of that candlestick. Yeah, so and if we go here to the seasonality of the S&P 500, the SPY ETF, go, let's get 20 here, like that. You can see here that June is one of the weakest months, and we are currently in June, so that is just something to be aware of. And though July, August, and September, they are okay, but you know, the major strength is towards the later part of the year. Okay, whatever you do, of course, do not fight the trend, and may the trend be with you.